Good morning. This is Norma Cowie with a Sunday thought. While I was contemplating what to speak about today, the thought came through my head: honesty is the best policy. And that got me thinking, which is appropriate for a Sunday morning thought. I grew up with being told honesty is the best policy. And often I would hear that. And that's what began my contemplation this morning. Today, it seems there are so many different viewpoints, some being said incorrect, some people saying this is the way, others saying not. How do we know what is actually honest and what is honesty? The one thing I think we can be sure of is being honest with ourselves in relation to our feelings and thinking. We are feeling and thinking human beings. We have a variety of thoughts on many different things. Does that say that this thought is incorrect and that thought is correct? It is our thought. It is our feeling. It is our awareness. As we move through life, our feelings do change. Our concepts change. Our perception changes. And that doesn't mean that what we had a precept before is wrong now. It just means at that time it was appropriate. Things keep changing. And what are we supposed to do with that? How are we going to assess, is this totally honest or is that totally honest? Sometimes there is no way of knowing because it's coming from a perspective of someone that believes or thinks or is told to say, this is how it is. But again, how do we feel inside? What are our feelings saying to us? If we do not trust and listen to our own feelings and our own awarenesses, who do we trust? If things don't sit right with where we are at and what we want to create, then are we being honest with ourselves? There has been times in my life when I have not listened to me at all. And usually that meant eventually something was not very nice in my life. I would override a lot of my feelings with my head. In relationships in particular, this was very prevalent. I would actually override what my body was saying or what my feeling of the times or the event would be happening. I would override it by my whole mental perspective. And I think that happens a lot with people, that we just give our power, you might say, to the mental side of us. What I began to learn as the years ticked by was I needed to really be honest with how I felt, because that, and I truly believe this is how your body tells you what it, where it's sitting, what it feels, what it's knowing, and what it's doing. I find very often in our society that the mind, the mental processing that we have, is being given a lot of power. This is, it's like a little explanation card. This is how it is. But very often, many of us don't feel like that's how it is, or that's how we want it to be, or that's how it's shaping up. Now, it's really interesting. The city that I live in right now today, they're having the Iron Man is playing. So I know for me, for one, I'm not going to be going too far away from where I live because mega big people watching, but it's a triathlon. So it's like they swim, then they bike, and then they run. And they're going all day into the night. I think they close everything down by midnight if you haven't completed the course by midnight. But isn't that a lot like life? Sometimes we swim, sometimes we run, and sometimes we bike. I don't do any of those three now. I mean, I walk, and that's still a good thing. But it's like different times in your life, you do different things. In different times, you need to be swimming. At different times, you need to be biking. At different times, you need to be running. And that's just a metaphor for what happens in different perspectives of perspection. Sorry about that. In your life. So where are you in relation to your life right now? What are you being honest about in relation to you? And what are you not being honest with yourself in relation to you? I was actually going to take a drive in the last few days. I am going away actually next week. and I will be driving, but I wanted to take a drive to see a person. And I realized that I was having trouble with my back, which I knew, and also my hip. And I finally had to come and be honest with myself that it would not be a good thing to be sitting driving many hours actually over the next few days when I was going to have to, come Monday, be driving. So honesty to self comes first. How do you really feel about something? Now, that may shift and change. I went to see the chiropractor. I had some massage work done. My hip is still not 100%, but it's not as it was, and it would have been if I had just been sitting driving. Honesty. Where are we honest? How often we put a brave face on and just smile and act like nothing's wrong or nothing's happening. We are our own barometers. We are our own ability to know. And part of growth, if you're interested in personal growth at all, is to learn, to know, to recognize who you are, what you are, where you are, and to appreciate yourself, appreciate your differences, appreciate people, what they say. May not agree with them, but they have an absolute right to say that. As long as they're not going out to hurt another person, then it's like that's an opinion. And sometimes opinions change. I know I've changed in many, many ways over the years. I was thinking back, and when you get older, you reflect a little more. But I was thinking back to before several circumstances happened in my life, of which one of them was the 2 years of restriction we seem to experience over the COVID pandemic. How I did things in a certain way, how I had groups every week, and how they really were very special to me, and how I enjoyed them. And I look forward to my weekly meditation group, and how I went out and did a lot of conversing into the universe. And how when it's just me, myself, and I don't do that as much. So I was making a pact with myself a little bit more to be a bit more aware of what I was putting out in a bigger scale again. It's an interesting value. And I just want to say, being able to speak on the internet is one way I have had of sharing my viewpoints, of sharing some of the concepts that I've had. And I have appreciated each and every person who has tuned in and listened. I appreciated the comments, and I've appreciated when you've subscribed, because it shows someone's hearing what I'm having to say. I'm feeling very isolated at times here now, the way society has gone, way decisions have been made. Right now, it's a lot more open, but then I had to break the habit of not being secluded and not being able to go here and there and everywhere. Honesty. I want you to contemplate, where are you being honest with yourself? And where you're not being honest with yourself, and maybe even not honest with those around you. I want you to have a great, great Sunday, great weekend. And I look forward to speaking to you during the week. Bye for now.